Commence primary ignition.
Welcome back to Yet Another X-Wing Podcast. I'm your host, Pete Lambro, joined this week and every week by Chris Daniel. Chris, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah, did you have a good Comic Con?
That rocked. We dressed as Dune. I went Thursday and Friday. Couldn't go Saturday because family obligations.
Hang on, shut up. I'm going to introduce our guest, and then we can talk about Comic Con.
Oh, and then you won't believe it. Oh, we never.
Oh, also joining us this week, very special guest, Vlad, whose last name I realized just now I don't know.
That's all right.
Vlad,
you
introduce
don't
yourself.
know that.
Vlad
Okay.
CIS.
Hey, everyone. I'm Vlad.
He's Vlad Grievous, adopted child of General Grievous.
He's more like Vlad HMP.
Whoa. Vlad. Go ahead.
I'm just a local over here at New York, and I post a lot in Discords and stuff. I go by Socks in the Discord, I think, unless I'm wrong.
Sex?
No, you are. Socks. No, Socks,
Yeah,
Chris.
Socks.
Socks.
Sorry.
Like your
Close.
feet. Yes, no, Vlad is here as our official certified Confederacy of Independent Systems expert. We'll talk about that in a little bit. First, Chris, I want to talk about your Comic Con. You dressed as you did cosplay, and you were a group of Fremen from Dune, right?
Yes.
I thought
really?
your cosplay looked fantastic. Do you post pictures on like Instagram or something like that where people could like look you up?
Yeah, dude. I only saw you wear that Superman shirt, and that was it. I thought that was like your costume, and that was that.
No, man. He's got a Chris knife.
Superman.
He's got full still suit action, scarf.
Whoa.
Look, you look great. And I'll be honest, the shaved head like lends itself to the costume.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and then I was originally going to do like my version of the Star Killer. I have these ridiculous kind of shoulder outfit thing that I was going to do on Saturday, but my Saturday
from like Force Unleashed Star Killer, like the video game.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, the game I don't think you've played.
Maybe the first version at somebody's house I've played. And I was like, you could do that, and you could. Doesn't he move like a Star Destroyer in it or something? I was like, what?
Yes, he does. He pulls one down from orbit.
Yeah, I was like, this is badass.
Yeah,
but I have some outfit that fits along with that, but I didn't get to wear that. But Dune from the Freeman. We got the outfits. We dirtied them up. We got some Scythe knife. I forgot what the knives are called.
I think
Chris
knife. Chris knife. There we go.
Or is it a siege knife?
The siege is where they live, right? The Chris knife is the knife from the tooth of the sandworm.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you guys. My only real exposure to the Dune fan base is this one shitposting group on Facebook where they only have one joke, and the joke is that the joke is not funny. And they've been just posting that for like.
You should watch the 2021 movie.
It was great.
It's great. Yeah.
I loved it. I can't wait for it.
So you're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fan base wise, I don't think I interact with a Dune fan base at all. I mean, I know Chris. Does Chris count because he dressed up as a
I think that counts.
Duneman?
Yeah.
All right, count it. I've played the Dune board game. I played the Dune board game.
The original old one. Okay, hell yeah! I heard.
I played that and made Sam so mad he quit the game.
Really?
It wasn't dramatic, but
that's funny.
We paused because it's the kind of game that can take forever. So we're like, we'll pick this up another time.
The Emporium one or something like that. It's called.
No,
I think this is the like old Dune.
It's just called game. Dune. It's from the 70s.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I heard that one's super long.
It's
super cool. They did a reprinting of it, right?
But it's like one of those board games that has that continually had a small tournament bracket and like just a player base that was like their thing that they played. and just survived for like decades somehow.
It's
a good game. Apparently.
It's a really good game. I like, just a sidebar about the Dune board game for a minute, but the there's different factions you play as, right? Like you can be you could be the Fremen, you could
House
be
Atreides,
House Atreides. Yep, 100%. You could be the Emperor. You could be, but importantly, there are a couple factions that have unique win conditions. Like you could be the Bene Gesserit, right?
Nice.
And the Bene Gesserit at the beginning of the game, that player secretly predicts on what turn another player will achieve victory.
Oh my
and
God.
at the end of the game, if they're right, they win. And the player who won with a normal win condition doesn't win.
That's great.
Because what they can do is they can then try to engineer that player's victory on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
You can also there's also the Spacing Guild. They want to make it so like no one truly controls Dune. So
yeah,
we
ran into two people.
Okay.
So there's that one scene in Dune where the whole Spacing Guild is going to House Atreides. Right, with the big helmets. That's why I just sent you guys a picture now. And we ran into them. Like they were taking pictures, and this one woman is next to them, and she's pointing to me, and then she points to them. And I'm like, why is she pointing to them? And all of a sudden I saw who they were, and I went, what? So I ran over there.
These are cool looking costumes.
Yeah, we took some pictures. But yeah, I mean, look, long story short, we put some work into our costume, but we bought it. Then we had to dirty it up and raggy it up and sandpaper some of it, right? Those guys.
Yeah.
No. Those guys put a mechanism in the helmet. They engraved the staff. They put together all of that other stuff. I was like, wow, you did
wow. I didn't even take a look at that. Nobody can't see what we're talking about.
That's true. Yeah. This is audio only.
That's incredible.
So cosplay to me is always one of those activities that seems incredibly interesting, and I will never participate in. Thanks. Right? Like
you always good. I mean, look.
I have no motivation or desire to. Right, but I really love to see it.
You get your five minutes of fame. If you want to check out more, now, I'm going to self promote. If you actually want to check out our page, we're on Instagram at ConArtistsNY. You could
that's what I was asking for before. If people could go on the internet and see your outfit. That's great, man. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. ConArtistsNY on Instagram, and I'll follow you too. I don't follow you currently.
Look at that.
Anyway, we start this podcast though. This Star Wars X-Wing : the miniatures game podcast every week with the Star Wars question of the week. And this week's Star Wars question of the week is in honor of the current Shatterpoint models I'm painting. So I picked up the Mace Windu expansion.
Ooh.
Okay. And it's Mace Windu with Commander Pons and 2 ARF troopers.
Sounds like a misspelling.
I thought so too. I thought it was a typo when they first posted it. I was like, like dogs, right? No, ARF stands for something. Don't Google it though. Because the question of the week I want to know is, first part of the question is, what does ARF troopers stand for? The ARF. Wrong answers only.
Oh God, okay. Vlad, you want to go or you want me to jump in?
I'm very bad at improv.
So I'm very bad at improv. Doesn't start with an A, R, or F, so it doesn't fit the acronym. Great.
Sure. I mean, I did Google it. It just kind of looks like a generic clone trooper, stormtrooper.
Yeah, but they have long, pointy helmets.
Yeah, it's like a bike trooper, but clone. I see it. Kind of cool. I can dig it. But ARF, what I'm thinking is ALF. I'm thinking ALF, the like sitcom alien.
Yeah, alien life form. Yeah. Did you know that ALF was an acronym? We all knew that, right?
ALF is also an acronym. What was ALF?
ALF's alien life form.
That's so lame. Really?
It's incredible.
That's so lame. Boo.
He's like, that sucks.
I'm sorry to ruin ALF for you, Vlad, I guess.
I can never watch that show again.
Were you planning on it? Oh god! All right, Chris, you got an answer for me? You got what does ARF stand for? Tell me.
I'm struggling actually.
You're
I was
struggling.
thinking it obviously stands for animated rumbling fudge.
A delicious dish. I was thinking that they were like rabid Comic-Con goers in clone armor because they're angry rabid fans.
Ah, that's way better than mine.
Rabid fan
That's way
troopers.
better than mine.
Or something fart. I thought would be funny because the F could be for fart, and my kids would really appreciate that one.
Arse rummaging friends. There you go.
I would love a friend like that. That's
Bet you haven't heard that one.
oh, just kidding, Chris. I have a friend like that. I married her. What if you could come up with your own clone trooper designation acronym? And this could be like a real one that you want to come up with. So like the real answer for ARF trooper is the Advanced Recon Force Trooper.
Oh, okay.
Right, because they're like recon guys. And then there's ARC Trooper, which I don't actually know what ARC Trooper is. Look up ARC Trooper, everybody. ARC Trooper, resume browsing. ARC Trooper is
amazing.
Advanced Recon Commando.
Ooh.
I was going to say amazing, rapid, fast boy. Cool guys.
Hell yeah.
There's a scene there somewhere.
Oh, I started rewatching the Tartakovsky Clone Wars today.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, seriously?
It's like I saw some clips a while ago because Google just knows my life, and I got back into it. A lot of the writing, a lot of the like actual script writing is kind of like whatever, but it's still
there's not a ton of it
cartoon.
though, from what I remember.
Yeah, and it's best when there isn't, honestly.
Yeah.
No, it's freaking great. It's freaking great. I love it so much.
Today was my in-office day, so I had to ride the train to work, which means I both get up early, right, and am just bored for a couple hours, right? And so I was texting with friend of the podcast, Brett Freeman, who was going to join us tonight, but he's unfortunately not feeling well. Just his loss, though. Anyway, he was talking about how he was building, he was putting together some Shatterpoint models, including the Grievous model, right? And his kids, his I think his older kid especially is like kind of into Shatterpoint a little bit, right? Like thinks it's a cool game, right? Like loves the Padme model and stuff. So he was saying that his daughter they watched Revenge of the Sith because the kids were so excited about General Grievous. And he said, my daughter was sad that he only had 2 arms, but lost her S when the other 2 appeared. I was thinking this like 10-year-old just going wild for General Grievous. Anyway, so I said, show them the original cartoon version.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like
such good Grievous content.
Like that was when Grievous was first revealed, and that was when the writers didn't really know. George Lucas also didn't really know what he wanted to do with the character, so he just gave them
that was the original explanation for his cough was that Mace Windu crushed his ribcage. Yeah. Anyway, so I said, he goes, oh, I've never actually watched that cartoon. I was like, oh my god! I'm like, you got to watch it. I'm like, it's on Disney Plus, so I sent him a link, and then I started watching it.
I will say that the 3D Clone Wars cartoon.
Yes.
There's a number of reasons why I never really got into it, or never given a chance or whatever. And the number one reason why I never gave that show a chance was because of their depiction of Grievous. It's not the same one. It's not the same guy. What
it's
they
not
do
the,
to my
it's
boy?
Not, yeah, it's
what they did to my boy.
I will say there is a funny thing you can do if you watch the animated Clone Wars, the canon Clone Wars cartoon, and okay. So you think about it. You have to make a multi-season long entertaining children's show, and let's come up with some antagonists. Well, we have Count Dooku, bad guy, and we have General Grievous, bad guy, right? And our 2 hero characters, Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The problem is, in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin has this 1 second line where he says, "I thought you'd be taller" to General Grievous. Or something
Right? I know about this, and so for the entire
right.
show,
So
they could never meet. All the writers had to think of like the most convoluted way to make sure that Anakin never meets Grievous.
Correct. Yes, they jump through the most out. Chris, did you know about this?
No.
In the animated Clone Wars, the CGI Clone Wars cartoon, they jump through so many hoops to include General Grievous and Anakin Skywalker in similar plots and episodes, but literally never have them face to face because they can't meet until Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
And it's like it's funny to call a cartoon out for being cartoony, but it is laughable.
Oh, he's like, you were taller or something like that. I thought you were
right. Yeah. Just because he says it, but like, let me tell you right now, no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyway, that show was all right. I powered through it. I prefer the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, but also that's like the one that was the OG for me.
Lucas changed his mind on the canon story, so whatever.
Right.
It is.
Anyway, thanks for indulging me. We wanted to do so, Vlad. We're having you on, one, because we like you, but two, we're doing something a little different. We had a great user. Sorry, this work spilling over into this. We had a great listener suggestion, which was that there's not a lot of content out there post the big rules change, the 2.5 change. There's not a lot of content out there that is like a good like new player buyer's guide stuff, right? Like, some or just general new player content, right? So we decided we were going to do a little bit of a series on buyer's guide. So this week we're going to tackle, you're a new player and you're interested in the prequels. So if you want to fly the Galactic Republic or CIS faction, we decided to put together a little bit of a buyer's guide for just some recommendations of a cheap way, because one of the big benefits of X-Wing is that it is, comparatively to other war games, relatively cheap to get into, right?
Yeah.
We want to talk about some packs you could buy to make some good lists, like some like must-haves for a faction, and see what we come up with, all right? But Vlad, guest of honor, CIS King, you want to start with the CIS or do you want to start with the Galactic Republic? What do you think?
Either one, but I wanted to bring up the fact that both CIS and the Republic are generally like one of the newer factions, right? So they come out before or after the Resistance and the FO. I don't know.
So Resistance and FO both had releases in first edition and had conversion kits available to them. Republic and Separatists were only available with the second edition, so there is no conversion kit box you could even track down to buy for these things.
Yeah. So they're like technically a newer faction.
Yes, they are the two newest factions. Yeah. Yes.
So it was funny. It was funny when it happened. Don't forget what you're going to say. When it happened, it was like we have 5 factions, and we're like, wow, 5. This is cool. And dude, I think the newer factions were released less than 6 months. Like once like a 2.5? Not 2.5, like 2.0. No. I just remember it was within a year or something. It was a surprise to hear that they're doing 2 more factions. I remember that.
Yeah, well, so like second edition launched, and then shortly after these new factions launched as well.
Yeah, and we were just like, what? And they're like, more surprises.
So let's start. You know what? The real question is, Vlad, do you want to go first or second here? That's the question.
Let me finish the thought.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So because the factions are technically newer and there's less ships than Empire and Rebels, a new player might have the false thought that going Republic or going Separatist or going FO, going Resistance will be cheaper than going Empire and Rebels, and that's not necessarily true. You will likely have to buy multiples of the same ship to be able to make lists and stuff. The other downside is because there's less ships and there's less players that play these factions. There's going to be less of a third-party market. There's going to be less people selling their lots for Republic and for CIS. Finding things on discount, finding things that are secondhand is going to be a little tougher.
Well, some of the ground rules. Now, this is going to be the first of this series, right? Some of the kind of ground rules I wanted to lock in on this, where I didn't want to dive in and recommend people even like try to get secondhand stuff. Just because it's hard to gauge the cost on it. It's hard to track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It really does.
But the other reason is I also wanted to focus on these being only standard legal stuff, like only standard legal ships. And thankfully for Republic and CIS, every ship is standard legal, right?
Yeah.
All the releases for these factions are standard legal. So if it exists, you can play it, right? I'm making the executive decision to start with Republic. Are you guys good with that?
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
So, okay. So in the Republic, there's a lot of different options, right? I've been thinking about this a little bit today. But there are some staples you want to pick up, right? And the number one staple you want to pick up is for both of these factions, regrettably, the core set has things you'll need in it, like the second edition damage deck. This is the 2-player core set. Or you could buy either one of the Rebel or Empire core sets. I'm fingers crossed hoping that there comes out a Galactic Republic and CIS starter set soon. But you need a starter pack that includes templates, tokens, templates, initial tokens, damage deck, and dice, right? Like you need a starter kit, right? But starter kit and supplies aside, ship-wise, you're building into this faction or you're new to this faction, right? Republic has the Guardians of the Republic expansion pack. That's a 3-ship pack. I definitely recommend picking up that. I believe the retail on that is $50 or $60, but you can regularly get it on sale through somewhere like Miniature Market or Amazon, or sometimes even local stores will discount it because it's an older pack, right? And so picking up that gets you a Delta 7. It gets you 2 V19s. Now, you don't play a ton of the V19s, but they are playable, especially in like current points.
They made a comeback.
Yeah, they definitely made a comeback. Speaking of ships, popular current ships, right? Well, hang on. Before we get to the popular current ships, I will say, though, it is also worth your while to pick up the standalone Delta 7 expansion pack, because that is how you get Anakin Skywalker in the Delta 7, who is, especially for a newer player, Delta 7B Anakin is a great price, right? He's not like a points price, right? Like it's a really good points cost for a really powerful ship that is like a staple in the Republic faction. So like having access to the Delta 7B version of Anakin Skywalker is like a staple for every Republic player. Should own that ship, you should try it and enjoy it, right? Moving on, you definitely would want to pick up 1, probably 2 of the ARC 170 expansion. These are a little more expensive. Yeah. I believe they're $30 a piece, right? $30 a piece, but they're going to come with that medium base ARC 170, which is super valuable. And then the last thing you're going to want to pick up is going to go ahead.
I was just going to say also right now you want to think that, so that's good also because there's currently points and the expansion packs that have these arcs that are exceptionally well priced in the game, and also it's thematic, and it's one of the best looking ships out there.
It's one of the best looking ships, and to your point, they're priced right now, but arcs have been playable since release, right? Mm-hmm. There hasn't been a points iteration where arcs were truly unplayable, right? Where they had been so priced out for whatever reason. Right. Sometimes it's different arcs that you play, like sometimes it's oddball, sometimes it's Jag or whatever. But right now, the hot ones are the ones I'm going to recommend, because the last thing I recommend for a new Republic player is the Siege of Coruscant expansion pack. Right? Mm-hmm. That's going to give you standard loadout cards for your V19s, which will make them better because these are better options than what comes in that initial box. And it's going to give you standard loadout cards for your arcs, which again are better options out of the box than what is going to come in that ARC 170 box, right? So like at the end of that day, I'll validate some prices, but ultimately you're going to end up with 2 Deltas, 2 V19s, and 2 arcs, right? And with that, you can mix and match and create a Jedi plus some friends. You could do an all clones list with that. You're probably not going to do a whole all clones list with just those. You probably want more clones if you wanted more stuff, like maybe a 3rd arc, or maybe you would pick up the V-Wing expansion pack, which is popular.
Yeah,
as well.
I was thinking definitely like if you could get one Nimbus V-Wing, they're so you could just throw those and the V19s like into so many little different gives you a lot of flexibility in regards to what you want to make. And on top of that, back to the arcs real quick. If something happens where you decide you want to use another faction in Rebels, it's the same ship and the same dial. You could just need different cards. So you could mix it up with the Rebels.
For someone who doesn't play Republic all that much, what's the difference between the Delta 7 and I know the difference between the 7 and the 7B, but do they come in the same box? Do you have to buy something else for it? Like, what's the deal with
question.
that?
That is a good question. The physical Delta 7 model is the same for the Delta 7B and the standard Delta 7. Originally, when they released, it was 2 configuration options, right? So, like, there's a config slot, and you could equip the calibrated laser targeting config, which would give you the CLT version, which is only 1 shield, 3 hull, and if you get a bullseye, you can do extra stuff. You can add dice, add results, right? And then there's the Delta 7B configuration, which gives you more attack dice. So it ups your attack to 3, decreases your defense, your agility dice to 2, and it gives you 2 extra shields. So you're at 3 hull, 3 shields. And you're just kind of a punchier ship, right? It's more of a jousty X-Wing equivalent style ship. But the physical model is the exact same.
But now they're like actually different pilot cards, though, right? Do those configs still exist physically? Was there like an errata? Like, what happened during the change?
Sure. So what they did was, good question.
I've just been like wondering this for years, and I just I don't play this faction, so it never really came up. But like, I was like,
so they used to be configs, and they were notoriously difficult to balance as configs, right? And it was like, at one point, the Delta 7B configuration card was a variable points cost depending on pilot initiative, and it cost as much as 24 points for Anakin to equip it.
This is in the 200 points.
In the 200-point scale, you'd have Anakin was like 50 points, but if he was 7B Anakin, he was like 75 points, right? So it was like really difficult to balance. Weird. So what AMG did with the change to the 2.5 list building was they said, this is a separate ship. It uses the same model, but it's a separate ship, right? So if you're buying the Delta 7 model, if you're buying the Delta 7 ship in the game, there is one configuration you can equip. It's calibrated laser targeting. It's 0 points. That's it, right? The other option is you can use for your list the Delta 7B. There's no config anymore. It's just a base pilot card is just different. But the abilities are the same. It's just it has the more shields and it has the different attack values.
Is the 7B pilot cards included in these Delta 7 expansion, or do I need to buy something else for that?
You don't need to buy anything. It's actually a print and play errata.
Oh, okay.
So you can just print those off. You can, however, if you somehow come into very valuable the Ahsoka Delta pack, I believe, has the 7B versions.
But like, why would anyone open that thing?
Right. Well, but then also Hot Shots and Aces Part 2 has for Adigalia pilot has the standard version and the 7B version printed on standard card stock. So any new releases of these things are going to include both, as we've seen from
understood
new releases.
Okay.
But you have to just print it out.
But for if you wanted like the 7B versions of like the older pilots, then you either have to like print and play them yourselves, or find like a alt art card somewhere.
Yeah, there are some full arts, I believe, but I don't know if they're the 7B config. But you can also, you for like an official tournament, the rule of thumb is print it out on regular paper, and you put it in a card sleeve with the original card behind it, and that's good.
Okay.
Just so it can be referenced for text.
A little janky, but yeah, neat.
Little janky, but I also do know there are some people. So the errata document very specifically has the licensing information on it that states you're allowed to print it, like for personal use, like it is printable. So you could get it printed through a service like Drive Through Cards, or even at like a local print shop, right? You could get it printed on cardstock if you wanted to have your own special cards. You could do that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, but that was my quick pick take here. I priced it out though. I'm using Miniature Market prices. Miniature Market is an online vendor, right? They are owned by Asmodee, who also
really?
owns Atomic Mass. Yeah, they were purchased last year or 2 years ago or something like that. Yeah, so they're owned by Asmodee. So Miniature Market, so they do discount their prices a little bit. So we're going off Miniature Market prices here. We're talking
How much is their Guardians of the Republic?
38.
I gotta tell you something, man.
You got it even cheaper. You got it
yeah,
cheaper.
not even
price
on
alert,
purpose.
baby.
Not even on purpose. I saw Google Guardians of the Republic, and then the first one that pops up was through a website called Wizards Play Network Premium. I'll send you the link. And this is ridiculous. I'm glad I don't need it, but the Guardians of the Republic pack.
Are we sending people to a scam website?
I hope
that
not.
sounds sketchy.
It does. I
Just
don't know if it's the first one though, but it says the Guardians of the Republic Squadron for $25.43.
That's not crazy. I've seen it on sale around holiday time sometimes.
This is for October only. But
yes,
wow,
everybody's favorite holiday month, October. Get your Christmas shopping in now.
They got like everything cheap though. Damn, that's pretty good. Just saying.
Listen, give them offer code YAXP for even more money. Oh no, don't do that.
Right.
We don't have an offer code.
Can you see people like, yeah, but I put the code in it, it didn't work.
But okay, so just real quick, I priced it out Miniature Market wise. Those things I mentioned. So that's Guardians Republic, standalone Delta 7, 2 ARC 170s, and Siege of Coruscant pack. That is going to run you $140.
That's good.
It is good, right? And compare that to the price of getting into something like Warhammer. It is still cheap, and this is actually on the upper level of what it would cost to get into X-Wing. And like we said, you could swap out that. You don't necessarily need to jump right into that additional Delta 7 if you didn't want to run a lot of Jedi. You could get a V-Wing for $20 instead, or if you wanted to tack a V-Wing on, those are $20 expansions themselves, right? So, you could spend up to $200 and end up with a V-Wing and a Naboo, and then you end up with a ton more list building options, right? Like some of these popular meta lists are including 2 of the ARC 170s from the Siege of Coruscant pack, right? They're including Kickback, the V19 from the Siege of Coruscant pack. Axe is also getting some play from the Siege of Coruscant pack, right? So it's 2 V19 ships right there. And then, like I said before, Delta 7B Anakin is a staple card. Mace Windu is a great buy in the 7B.
There's so many
now.
Jedis, yeah.
There's so many Jedi. Flying 2 Jedi with some clones is a really thematic, thrilling list. Like we were talking in the pre-show, or was it pre-show? I don't know. We were talking about the Tartakovsky Clone Wars before, right? Mm-hmm. These ships are iconic from that and from the Clone Wars cartoon series, right? And they just look great on the table. So I really can't recommend them enough.
And on top of that,
that's what I recommend for a new player in Republic.
On top of that, the Jedi, they have Force, and it's fun to use the Force in the game.
Force is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice the important omission that I don't think you mentioned the LAT. Did you mention the LAT?
I did not mention the LAT.
I know they're a little expensive right now, but that is an iconic ship.
It's a good-looking ship.
Oh, so yeah. So it's definitely an iconic ship. I own it. I love it. I've flown a ton of it, right? I won my first tournament with a LAT ever back in late 2nd edition days, right? I really love the LAT, right? But
priced out currently.
So if you're looking at a perspective from I'm a new player who wants to start playing X-Wing today and I want to buy into Republic, I think there is a better use of your gaming dollar to purchase these other ships first. Obviously, rule of cool. If the LAT is your favorite ship, buy the LAT, right? For sure.
If they're trying to speed run, learn the game, and play meta lists, yeah, probably. But
not even play meta lists necessarily. Right? I'm not even saying meta lists. We can put together with the stuff I mentioned, we could put together a really great theme list. Here, I'm throwing one together right now that is not let's see, we need to do
and just use the ARC 170 as to build around, yeah.
Well, I'm saying you could do Anakin 7B, Obi-Wan Kenobi in the CLT. So that's Anakin and Obi-Wan, classic combo. Plus 2 ARC 170s. Visually, it's this is. I listen. Don't come at me
It's one step away from the Coruscant fight, yeah.
Exactly what I'm saying. They're not in the Edda 2 Actus, but it's basically the opening of Revenge of the Sith, right? Those arcs come screaming in. They look great right above the surface of Coruscant, and you get the big fight happening around them, and then Anakin and Obi-Wan are there. And you get the Anakin and Obi-Wan paint jobs with the Delta 7s, right? Because the standalone expansion is Anakin's paint job, and the Guardians of the Republic is Obi-Wan's paint job. So, like, you get, like, that right there is a really easy new player list that's going to give you a lot of options and, like, be good to play at local game night for not a ton of money, which is great.
Done. Sold.
Vlad? I want to play CIS now.
Gonna buy a whole nother faction now.
How many fire sprays should I buy? I'm a brand new player.
At least 4 of them.
Zan Wessel is my favorite character. From the movies.
No, what I was gonna say is I was actually gonna argue that, like, the old buyer's guide from, like, even like a 2.0 or even like 1.0 are still kind of right in that, like, the old advice is still the same advice. Just buy the ship that looks cool to you. Go to a store, you see a cool ship that you kind of sort of like, get it. Well, why not? If it's a cool ship. Like my first Separatist ship was a Tri-Fighter because Complete Strategist just had one lying on the racks, and I was like, shout out to Complete Strategist.
So cool.
And I got a Tri-Fighter. Love Complete Strategist, and I love the Tri-Fighter.
Yeah, and then I was, like, toying around with, like, getting more into a Separatist, and I bought an HMP offline, I think. And this was the HMP.
I call it the Hump Droid.
Yeah.
The Roombas?
The Roomba, the little Oreos, the
gunship, droid gunship.
Yep. And this was like right as 2.5 came out, which, if you remember or not, Tri-Fighters and HMPs were just not played. They were too expensive. They were 5 points each.
Yes.
It was ridiculous.
It was not a good time.
And they got 3 hull.
Yeah.
Not a great time to be a droid player.
Back then, you could bring shield upgrade and hull upgrade, but, like, it's still not great. It was not good.
Mm-hmm.
But those were my first CIS ships, and they were not particularly playable. But I still got into it. And hey, look who's laughing now. Look with with all the HMP spam lists and all the Tri-Fighter spam lists, and they're a lot of fun.
You were ahead of the game,
man. To play. It's a great time to play X-Wing right now, I think.
I agree.
You're ahead of the game, and you're right.
I don't even play HMP. I don't even own the HMP.
You're right. Like if you're out there, guys, and you're like, man, I don't know about this ship, but damn, it looks cool. Freaking buy it.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I totally adhere to rule of cool. Yes,
the paint jobs are all excellent. That wherever they're making the minis and stuff, they do an excellent job. They look great on a shelf. They look great on a desk. It's X-Wing collectibles. X-Wing as, like, miniatures as collectibles are cool. They're fun. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, no, super great.
Outside of that, go ahead. Like, would you recommend? Because I always think, like, that Servants of Strife thing.
Right?
You got it. Yeah, I mean that. I think the 3-ship pack for every faction is a must.
Is a must,
right?
You're, as a new player, you're trying to get to 20 points of squad of value as quickly as possible, and getting that 3-ship squad pack. For whatever faction you're playing is like the thing to do.
Well, it's a great, it's the same cost as the Guardians of the Republic, right? So you're still talking roughly $40, and that comes with General Grievous. Like, that's the big one for me.
It comes with Grievous, who has been a long staple in the Separatist faction for a long time. He's a good pilot. He's a good ship. The upgrades he can bring on that thing just make it a really, really strong
beast.
He's a little tiny bit less as strong as he was in a previous patch, but he's still a monster. The opponent still has to deal with them.
Yeah, he's still ridiculous.
And Servants of Strife comes with 2 vultures, which is like the bread and butter of the faction who's made to be the swarm faction. Even though other factions nowadays kind of do the swarm thing a little better than CIS, but hey. It's still 2 vultures. You will want them if you want to get into CIS, and getting Servants of Strife, getting 2 Servants of Strife actually makes sense just to get more vultures on the table.
Interesting.
Vultures, there is a solo vulture expansion, and the only thing you get in the solo vulture expansion is 311, which is the vulture pilot who can pass a calculate token range 3. Really good ability, amazing ability. It's like a Palpatine.
Is he worth $20 to a new player?
311. That one pilot is 3 points right now in the squad builder, and no vulture is worth 3 points. You will not bring 311 unless you're doing something very, very specific and janky, which is super fun. It's very cool. It's a really cool pilot, but 3-point vultures is a really big, tough ask. I don't recommend getting the single vulture expansion unless you really, really want 311, which you might, or you really want
the alternate paint job, right?
Yeah, if you want the brown vulture paint job, which is, I love it. It's great. Grab it.
It's iconic.
And you got $20 to burn. Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. But otherwise, you should get the Servants of Strife. It's around $40 on sale. It goes down to like $30. I've seen it go down to like $25. Servants of Strife should be the first thing maybe second thing you buy. First thing you should buy is actually the Fire Spray. That's
really, you think Fire Spray for a new player?
Legendary.
New CIS guy?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me why. Django Fett.
Come on.
Django Fett, yes. So Django Fett is 8 points. He is the highest cost squad value in the squad builder at the moment for CIS. So you're going to get to 20 points faster if you have Django in your list and you're building around Django.
Is that where does Count Dooku crew come in that box as well, or no?
It does not. He does not.
Bummer.
Yeah, I know. It does, however, come with Suppressive Gunner, which is the discount version of Force. So you can still kind of have that same play style. And it also synergizes with Django's high initiative. It's pretty decent on him. So you can still build around. You can still build a scary Fire Spray.
Well, I mean, this is hopefully the information for a player who wants to play locally. This is not information for someone trying to go to Worlds.
Of course. But winning is fun.
It sure is.
The Fire Spray is one of, if not the most bestest chassis in the game.
Factions,
and it's like really difficult to balance from a game dev's perspective because it just does a lot of things really, really well.
Sure,
it's iconic.
And benefit while you can.
And you will win games solely because the Fire Spray and Django is good, even when you might not deserve it. I know I have. I know I have won games just because Django is good. But as far as like you're trying to get into the faction and you will get 20 points as fast as possible. Fire Spray and Servants of Strife. That's 8 points for Django, 5 points for Grievous, and then 2 and 2 for the 2 vultures. So you're at 17 points now. You got 3 points. You got 3 points. You can for a
bomber.
You've got 3 choices. You can go, and this is purely on flavor. You can whatever your local game store has. You can either go Hyena Bomber. You can either go the Tri-Fighter, or you can go the HMP. All of them have great three cost. All of them have great 3 cost options, and all of them are fantastic. Hyenas were like my favorite ship last points because primarily the bombardment drones. Droids. Yeah. Whatever, the ones that like throw the pizza pies in the face.
Bombardment drone.
Drones.
I'm looking at a drone.
And I'm the CIS expert here.
Yeah,
that's close.
You can throw an electro-proton bomb in front of you.
That's right, you can.
Then I think they should also look into getting on top of those, which is great, but also getting what the Republic thing, which also has the CIS stuff, the Siege of Coruscant.
Well, that's
expansion pack.
that's an interesting question
So-
that I have for Vlad.
Yeah.
If you decide you don't want the bombardment drone, right? Do you want to pick up Siege of Coruscant as an early buy? No, right?
So hold
So
on.
you
One,
get it
the
anyway.
Hyena
Yeah,
Bomber. Out of the three options, the Hyena, the Tri-Fighter, and the HMP, the Bomber is probably the worst one.
Okay.
I'd far more recommend the
think so,
Tri-Fighter.
huh?
Or
Wow.
yeah, right with how points are right now. Yeah, I do. Sadly, I'm very sad about that. But it means I can play my Tri-Fighters. It means I can play my HMPs. So
Yeah. Well, so Siege of Coruscant has Tri-Fighter options that are good.
they do. Yep,
Right. And it has DBS 404 for the bomber, which is good.
it does.
And they do have there are some of the Siege of Coruscant vultures as well, although I haven't looked at them, so I don't know.
311.
They're not
Or-
not particularly great. No,
They're not.
Where's the Iron one coming? Is that in the
That's
Hot Shots?
Hot Shots
Hot
and
Shots
Aces
is
Iron
got it.
Assembler,
Yeah.
who's great, but that's a
Yeah.
$20 pack for maybe a single card, basically.
Mhm.
There's Dirge is in there as well, but if you want Dirge, you're gonna have to get the Rogue expansion as well, which is another big ask.
See, I don't think that's bad, man. The Rogue, I would put Rogue Squadron up pretty high up there.
Well, but remember
It's less-
the Rogue class doesn't come with Dirge. You have to buy Rogue class, and
Yeah.
then you have to buy
you
Hot
get
Shots.
you get Cab Bane and you get a few
The
IG
Magnus? You get the
robots.
Magnus?
Yeah, which are the Magnus are not
Which are
particularly
cool.
great. They're cool.
I know. I
They're
mean,
very
the
cool.
ship is cool, right? And Cad Bane is cool in CIS, but I like what Vlad has pointed us down here with this kind of, because you're going to end up with a 5-ship build, right? That's going to feel strong because Grievous is there, Django is there.
Yeah,
You're going to feel like you have enough bodies for objective play with the vultures,
Yeah.
and then that last flavor to taste option is really good because you get a bomber, you get a Tri-Fighter, or you get an HMP. He was saying, like, I really like that idea.
Yeah,
And
the
again,
bomber.
you walk into the store with a 5-ship list, and one of them's a fire spray. Like that's gonna be you're gonna get a feel for the game that way and find out what you like, right?
The flavor to taste is also a great way to describe it. The bomber acts kind of as an upgraded vulture. It's kind of like a bruiser
That's
vulture
true.
with
You
more,
don't have enough of that.
missiles.
Yeah.
The Tri-Fighter is like an AC flanker ship that you just like stick in a corner and it just kind of goes where it doesn't belong and gets a really, really sneaky kill on something.
Mhm.
And the HMP is just a big tanky platform that just shoots things and just kills things. Whatever.
It moves very cool, though. Has very cool
Moves
movement.
really, really
And
cool. Yeah.
And I
Unconventional
wanna-
movement.
I want to point out cost-wise where we're coming in here, right? Servants of Strife is going to run you $40. Django's going to run you $30. This is all miniature market prices, $30, and then your flavor to taste one is going to be another $20, right? That puts you at $90, right? So
Yeah.
under $100, you have playable ships in a faction. If you wanted to spend what you're spending as a new Republic player, like in our example there, you're spending. You could buy 2 more ships. Like you could buy a bomber, you could buy an HMP, you could buy 2 HMPs, right? You could buy one of all 3. Like you could try these different ships, see what you like, and end up not spending a huge amount of money. You could buy a second fire spray, right? Like if you wanted to do double fire spray stuff, which is which is currently semi-viable, right?
Also, both Republic and CIS have don't have a crazy amount of ships variety as well. So it's also entirely possible to slowly and feasibly get all the ships in the faction. That's entirely realistic.
Absolutely, yeah. I still don't own every Rebel ship. Like I don't own an Ausitok.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever will because I have no interest in it.
If it comes back.
Especially the unreleased ships, forget about it.
Yeah. When we're talking standard play,
Yeah, I know.
it is really easy to grab to buy into these factions fully. Anyway, this was great. Vlad, thank you so much for joining us to give us this insight into CIS. I'm positive there are Republic and CIS primary players out there who are seething mad at me for my terrible list building advice and opinions. And I want to let you know that I want to validate you. You are right, and I am wrong. But if you want to send your suggestions to us of a better modified buyer's guide for Republic or CIS players, please send us an email. YetAnotherXwingPod.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Vlad.
I know you're wrapping up, but like,
I am.
If that's the stuff you're going to be inviting, we have to talk about the Sith Infiltrator. Because like all the Force.
Let's talk to me about the Sith Infiltrator. Let's go.
Sith Infiltrator. If you, for whatever reason, you can't find a Django fire spray, a Separatist fire spray, either like at your stores or like you don't find one on sale, just get the Infiltrator. There's like lots of really cool stuff in there. There's really cool stuff in there.
And it's tanky also. Good for
it's
the
kind of
tanky.
Player, you know? It does have a big target on its head, but it has a cloaking action. And so like a big thing about it is that you fly in, you do some damage, everybody wants to shoot you, and then you cloak and you run away. And then you have 3 dice, you have 3 green dice, you've got force, you've got ways to like be even more like annoying. You've got people forget
also iconic ship from the movies.
Yeah, people forget you have a barrel roll, and people forget you have a 5K on a large base ship.
Fuck, never forget that.
Sith Infiltrator is cool. It is
extremely cool. Thank you. I appreciate the interruption because I love the Sith Infiltrator.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling iconic, you could use Count Dooku or Darth Maul. Pretty popular characters.
Oh, I
never heard of them.
Talk about relays. I didn't even talk about the relays, but the relays is a whole other can of worms. Basically,
don't the relays come in Servants of Strife or no?
There's one in Servants of Strife. There's one with the Infiltrator. There's a few other ones. There's one with the HMP expansion. I don't have the Wikipedia in front of me, but
it's also for
people. The TLDR Separatist faction has a whole lot of synergy mechanics within itself, especially with the robots within the Separatists.
The robots in disguise, yes.
Yeah, more so than other factions might have synergy with themselves. It's just we don't see that all too often, sadly. There's so many cool synergy options and like building. And theory crafting within Separatists, but so often we just see blue scum lists. We just see bounty hunters that just happen to have the Separatist logo painted on top of them. But there's really cool stuff that Separatists have.
Yeah, it is fun. There's stuff where you could keep tokens, where if it's in a bullseye, you get to take one of their tokens or add an attack. Yeah. So it's a fun faction, everyone.
It is a fun faction. I only got to CS in the past year, and I really enjoyed them. What was I wrapping up with? Oh, yeah, you sent us an email, yetanotherxwingpod@gmail.com. Tell me I'm wrong. I'd be happy to read other list building advice, other early purchase decision advice. Try to keep it budget friendly. Try to keep it new player friendly. Like, there's a reason I'm not out here necessarily saying, rule of cool is king. I'm with that. If you have favorite ship, buy your favorite ship, fly your favorite ship. I don't disagree with that at all. I 100% I believe in that. But like, I'm not over here saying like, you guys got to pick up a Nantex because like a Nantex, like Sunfact's incredible, but like it's a weird ship. It's kind of difficult to fly. It's kind of fragile sometimes. It's a weird ship, right? And it's like, and if you're new to X-Wing, it's like, don't buy a Nantex unless you're like you got your tattoo of Geonosis on your chest or something like that. Like, don't buy the Nantex, right? Buy it after you've bought this other stuff and have played a bunch of X-Wing, right? Then buy the Nantex, right?
Playing Nantex is playing hard mode. It's really, really fun, but all it takes is one bad roll, it feels. But I'm bad at the game also. I don't know. I tried my go at Sunfac. I had to put him down.
You had to show
when he works though, it's like you feel like $1 million.
It's when it works, it's gross. It's really
the nice ship you have there. It'd be a real shame if someone tractored it.
Just absolute deletion. It's gross. Yeah, it's.
The Nantex is famous for being the ship that inspired immediate rule changes. More than one change to the rules of the game happened because of the Nantex. Like it's good stuff. Yeah, sorry. The last thing I wanted to do, just speaking of emails, I'm not going to read this whole email because it's kind of long, and I think it'd actually be interesting discussion we could talk about
Hans
later.
Breakfast.
No, not Hans Breakfast, but we did get a request from a listener to shout out their local store championship upcoming in Portland. It's in Portland, Oregon, October 21st at the Portland Game Store, very aptly named. They just upped to 24 players. They have only a few slots left. That sounds like a great time. Big event. Sounds awesome. And it is hosted by their local organizer named Matt. So shout outs to Matt. And we will throw the link to registration in the description. So if you live in the Portland area and you have somehow not hooked up with the folks over at the Portland Game Store, you should, and you should go play in their giant store championship, and you should surprise them all and win. So
Take it down. Take it down.
We're rooting for the new player who has yet to play in the store championship to go win. Sorry to our friends in Portland, but we hope a new player comes and crushes you all.
And there's a store championship coming up in Long Island that
yes,
fellow friend Keith is promoting as
Keith
well.
is promoting that. We want to talk about that. So yes, Long Island area. This is the Legendary Realms Store Championship. That is also this weekend on the 22nd.
Hold on. Long Island area. Long Island is really, really big. It's in Lindenhurst, everybody. It's
Lindenhurst, everybody.
Oh, sorry. Some of us don't
it's in New York.
How long the island is. Anyway,
Short Island.
Long Island. It's not. It's whatever. It's not in. It's not in the far off county. It's in Nassau.
It's in New York. It's in New York, everyone. New York.
But anyway, yeah. So Legendary Realms is happening. That is this weekend. 10/22. Doors open at 10, dials down at 11. Again, this Portland Game Store Championship is 10/21, October 21st, at a Saturday.
Saturday. It's a Saturday.
Put the link in the description. There are still slots available. They're not many. Anyway, any other shout-outs we want to do?
Vlad, any shout-outs, Vlad? Come on,
Yeah, Vlad.
It's your time to shine.
I don't know. We can shout out Joaquin, I guess.
Shout-outs to Joaquin for holding it down, getting all the casuals going. Vlad said, sorry, guys, I have to skip casual night.
It's fun. It is what it is. I was trying to get them to come out early for it so I can also be here, but oh well.
You know what? You're a man. You need it everywhere.
We appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate your insights in the CIS and just having you on. You're a good dude.
You complete us, Vlad.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but anyway, the Chris Daniel, thank you for joining me. Vlad, thanks again for joining us. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. I've been your host, Pete Lambro, and this has been Yet Another X-Wing Podcast. We will catch you next time. Bye-bye.